Okay, it looks like we've got audio, we've got video. These are useful things to have. Just gonna be terribly social media about it all. Okay. Right, so today I'm gonna spend about half an hour playing some FTL Faster Than Light and talking about it from a game development perspective. So I'm an indie game dev myself and I quite like chewing on and analysing games. So today we're going to do FTL. If you have any questions or comments, I am monitoring the chat on YouTube Gaming, so you can ask them there and I'll reply probably using my face voice or in chat if that works better. Okay, let's get started. Okay, so FTL was really one of the first, if not the first, big fancy indie game. It made it onto Steam pretty early on, back when Steam had only like a few hundred, dozen even games on there, and it sold, for the time especially, really, really well, and it sort of helped kick off the whole indie games are a thing now. But that was more than a decade ago, I think. So let's see how it actually holds up now. So you start the game and you get this like spaceship with a bunch of different parts of it, like the engine, the guns, the shield generator, and so on. Well, you got some crew, and you've got some guns and so on for your ship. And I'm just going to start with the easy settings because I haven't played this in ages. Okay, so basically we're running away from bad people. We have to get through each sort of star map without being destroyed, and while also actually gathering up enough improved resources and ship improvements to actually win the final battle, which is pretty hard. So this is a rogue-like kind of game. It's a sort of game where you play it again and again and again, and most of the time you die, and sometimes you die just because you have bad luck, and you slowly, eventually get better. So let's go and fly over there where there's a distress beacon. Okay, so we're getting these really basic sort of encounters, which basically just give us two options for what to do. Let's hail that ship. It turns out to be pirate ambush. So we should probably turn on our guns and power up our engines, and I think the audio has just gone completely crazy, hasn't it? Yeah, it has. I'm just getting weird noise now. Okay, that's just turned off the music since it seems to be balked. Okay, so basically we choose where we want to shoot, and it shoots us back, and we want to destroy it before it destroys us. And there's sort of a timing based combat thing going on where over time our weapons recharge, and once they're ready we can use them and shoot them. So I'm going to use this burst laser here and just try and get rid of its guns. Okay, and that hurt it badly enough that we win. We accept their offer of some stuff, and we can carry on. So far so good. Yeah, the audio is really messed up. It's interesting, I never had this problem with just normally playing the game. I assume it's some kind of mess up with OBS. Well, let's see, I might just restart the game in a moment. Okay, so again we have here a fight, and that's basically what it is. It's a sequence of very simple sort of single stage choose your own adventure type questions, and they usually lead to a fight or you gaining or losing some resources, and that's about it. And you obviously need those resources, because if you say run out of fuel, then you're stranded and you lose and stuff like that. So again, let's go for combat. So we can pause pretty easily at any time, just by hitting space. Gives us some time to actually analyze the enemy ship. It's got one shield point, and it's got some basic modules like weapons and armor and so on, weapons, shields, and so on. So again here, what we really want to do is, let's just try and take out its guns. Before it can do us too much damage. So it has done us some damage, unfortunately, and it's broken the O2, the air recycling system. So we probably need to send this guy over here to fix it. But on the plus side, its weapon systems are down, so I think because it's an auto scout, it's a robot vessel, I don't think it can actually repair itself. So we can now basically just take it out, which in this case means let's go straight for the command center, while this guy over here repairs the O2. Then we can send him back. So in practice, you end up sort of micromanaging your crew and micromanaging where you're shooting and so on. You can also like use auto fire, so you can also just say keep on shooting this one particular module. But that turns out to be a really bad idea, as I will see if I can demonstrate. So here's another fight. This is a bit of a bigger one. This one's got like drones, and I don't even know what that is, some kind of computer hacking thing probably. So now this is about more dangerous opponent. It's got two drones, so I'm just going to try and take out its drones as quickly as possible. Okay, so it's like hacking into our systems or something like that. And actually, it is sort of weirdly harmless because it's got a defensive drone and only one gun. So actually the thing to do is to shoot this weird attack drone, which we don't really like. So of course they can now repair, so we're also going to go and try and take out their shields, which is good long term. And let's actually use a missile as well. And now we need to take out the defensive drone systems first. So as you can see, there's quite a lot of logic and strategy to this. What do you actually aim at? Because you obviously kind of want to destroy everything, but you only have that much firepower, and you have to figure out how to prioritize which systems to harm. And most enemies that aren't those robotic ones can repair their systems, so it's not like you take them out permanently. Which means that a lot of the time you have to think, well, do I take out the shields first, which means that for a little while at least I can then do more damage? Do I go straight for taking out the weapon systems, or do I try and take out like the cockpit so it's easier to hit and things like that? And I didn't plug in my computer. Let me fix that. Okay, that's that. Let's continue with our fighting here. So now we've taken out the drones. Well, we could now deliver a little coup de grace here with our missile, but honestly it's weak by this point. We don't have to waste missiles. Let's just take out its... Let's just shoot at its shields again. But yeah, this is enough to actually destroy it. And we get some goodies. We get some more fuel that moves on missiles and some scrap which you can use to repair the ship, also to upgrade it. Let's go down. Okay, we found a crazy person who may or may not be an addition to our crew. Let's not risk it. Usually taking risks here in these encounters tends to be a bad idea. Okay, so here's another pirate ship. Let's fight them. So again, now this one's got quite a lot of guns. It's got missiles. It's got lasers, so it's got enough firepower to get to our shields and start damaging us, which means we want to take out its ability to damage us pretty quickly. Now this is where the thing comes in about this game. I'm going to send this missile to shoot at... So that worked pretty well. Also going to take out their shields. There we go. And you can now see the doors opening and closing as they do their best to repair their weapon systems. Very nice. So they now want to surrender and give us some stuff, which I guess we'll let them do. Cool. So we have some stuff of an automated reloader, which means our weapons reload a bit faster, which is pretty neat. Oh, and I just noticed that our O2 systems are dead again, and we are slowly suffocating to death. Oops. So one of the details about this, which is pretty important, is oxygen management. One of the neat tricks is that sometimes if you don't have quite enough energy, you can, for example, just turn off your O2 plant for a little while and wait for it. And just, let the crew slowly suffocate, but hopefully the combat will be over before that's actually a problem. So you can do that sort of management thing. Yeah. And this is sort of how the game carries on. You go and jump from place to place. You have these simple encounters and your various fights against various enemies. There's also boarding. There's also like electronic warfare and teleportation, all kinds of cool stuff. And as you might guess, my own game Airships is actually partially inspired by FTL. Very early builds basically called it like steampunk FTL, from which it's kind of diverged quite a lot now. And yeah, it's a fun game. My big complaint about it is, as you may already have noticed, I constantly pause the game in combat. And the reason for this is, well, why wouldn't you? You need to be very careful about timing of things. You need to make sure that you're not missing anything. Maybe like the fact that I just missed as the oxygen system was down. I think there is an alarm eventually, which it wasn't playing properly because of the audio problem. But, that sort of thing where you don't notice something or you get the timing of something wrong. Often you need to be quite specific about when you shoot which weapons to like maximize damage. Like a lot of the time, if you have some weapons which are a lot better against armor, you need to make sure that the weapon that takes down the shields fires first, and then the weapon that takes down armor. But you still want to fire them as quickly as possible, So you end up pausing all the time just to make sure that you play well. So let's keep on, fighting these guys. And that's sort of the big downside of this, really, is that to me it ended up being sort of boring. Both because the randomization isn't super good. Sometimes you just get playthroughs where you're unlucky and you don't get any useful equipment and you get a lot of enemies and you fail. And then also, in order to play properly, and you have to because this is a hard game, you have to keep on pausing and the game becomes really slow. It sort of becomes essentially turn-based, but with very small turns and a lot of detail in there. So what I actually would love to see as a game mode is the ability to have like even easier difficulty level, maybe, but one that just completely outlaws pause. Because I've tried playing it without pause, and I just find that it's frustrating because I get annoyed, because I get the timing slightly wrong, and I sort of know that there is the ability to pause in there, and it's not necessarily balanced for kind of hard real-time play. So I feel that that would have been a better way of doing it, but it's hard to argue with the game's success at this point. Another thing which I find interesting is that there's been a whole bunch of games that are based, at least in part, on FTL, but it didn't really spawn a huge number of very direct copies. I feel like these days this would be different. If you look at something like, for example, Binding of Isaac, which got basically cloned, and a whole bunch of other games where, Minecraft turned up and then all of a sudden there were like a million block games. FTL didn't really get cloned all that much, despite the fact that, you could just take this and make it about, I could have made airships be literally just a palette swap type thing of FTL. It's just like, now it's Steam airships in the air instead of in space, exactly the same mechanics, but just different graphics, and that hasn't really happened so much, which is quite weird. Okay, so now here we can actually get some new equipment. Now we have a cool new gun, and absolutely no way of powering it. So if you now turn off the oxygen, turn off the oxygen and turn this on, and that doesn't... Okay, I'm mildly confused here. I'm pretty certain it has got enough system power. How weird. Oh. I don't need to upgrade the power system. For the weapons itself as well, yeah. Okay, something. Let's try out this new gun. And it's sort of funny because there's quite a lot of stuff in here which is like other games, I think, since other space games have done a lot more detail. Like there are shops, but they're fairly simple shops. There's like special offers, but they're fairly simple as well. The game basically concentrates on the kind of micromanagement of the ship, where, well, if you like that, that's good, but everything else is quite sketched out. Your crew have some basic skills. The plot is very bare bones. The encounters are so simple that you basically have to memorize which the correct answer is, and then that's about it. It's really just choose your own adventure. So the cool thing really is the sort of thinking about what to shoot and what abilities to use when. So in that way, it's a bit more like something like World of Warcraft. You basically have cooldown based abilities, which is more like an MMO type thing. So yeah, I think it would be interesting to also think about, well, let's basically remake FTL, but let's just remake it with I guess game design elements that are more modern or more trendy right now. I feel like cooldown based abilities aren't exactly very trendy. You could make I feel like you could make the game a lot more viscerally engaging by giving, I don't know, by actually speeding up the combat a bit, even about making it simpler. Okay, so we're being weirdly attacked again. We're going to try out our fancy charge laser. Okay, actually we're going to be set on fire. Okay, yeah, so this is the other cool, quite neat mechanic. If you have a fire, you can send someone to put it out, but much more sensibly, what you do is that you just deoxygenate. Okay, there we go. Now we just use this thing and it shoots a huge number of bolts. Actually not that many, honestly. Yeah, and then that puts out the fire. And then we can open all the doors to equalize air quantities so no one actually asphyxiates. And continue doing some fiddly crew assignment. So again, in airships, continuing to, compare this to my own game, you don't do fiddly crew assignment. Crew assignment's handled by the game itself. But what you do is essentially do crew assignment at one move, where you you determine what kind of modules the ship has and what kind of how much crew it has and so on. Which in practice means you still sort of do the figuring out of what your priorities are, what kind of weapons you want to deploy, and so on. But you just do it in the construction stage of the ship rather than at this stage. This is the most boring bit. I'm really confused why they never fixed this. But if you're nearly out of oxygen, you now just have to wait for the oxygen to refill. We're just sitting here now and waiting for the oxygen to refill. As there's no good reason to go into the next fight with less than maximum oxygen. That would just be, a bad idea. Yeah, piracy. I guess privateering. This is such an inferior weapon, this charge laser. Yeah, you see, that's what happens when I talk instead of actually playing the game. Everything dies horribly. Okay, have to repair the shields. to keep on shooting this thing in the face. Okay, one thing I actually don't know is what are the guys who made this up to these days? That's a really good question. I literally have no idea. Oh, we got a new crew member. We got a little bug person called Layla. That's nice. Hello, little bug person. How about you go and repair our security systems? Oh, everything's on fire. I hadn't noticed. Okay, let's fix that. There we go. It will all be fine. Maybe. Okay, so the answer appears to be, sorry, I really just had to Google this, is that, like, for example, Justin Marr at least, is still talking about FTL to this day. This is a bit odd. I mean, I guess that's still what they're doing. I don't know if they're working on anything new, like secretly, or if FTL is just what they've decided to dedicate their life to, or I don't know. See, it's a fun game, but I just find the micromanaging fiddling a bit overly fiddly and a little boring. Like, if the ship's not on fire, and you know, then there should just be a button that lets you repair everything. You know, this is I was just waiting for everything to be repaired again. Which means just waiting around. Okay, we're done. Let's do one more jump. Ooh, we have some kind of... we're close to a pulsar. Interesting. Anyway, let's shoot him out of the sky. Okay, maybe they'll shoot us out of the sky, but you know, there'll be some sky shooting. Ouch. Okay, well, let's laser them in the face while their shields are down. Stop them from fleeing. Thanks, Impulse, you've made this a lot easier. So, I mean, yeah, to be fair, since I last played this, they actually added a fair number of things. So I guess the answer as to why, you know, people haven't really copied FTL that much is that FTL's still really around and kicking, and I assume selling pretty well, and still basically filling that FTL-shaped space. Fair enough. Okay, well, I think that's all I have to say about the game for now. I hope you found it interesting. I did a poll for different games, and the ones which were runner-ups, I think, were Nuclear Throne and something else, whatever that was. And so I'll do another bunch of streams like this over the next few days and weeks of a similar kind of format. If you have any feedback or any questions, you know, as usual, just email me or leave a comment in the chat or whatever. Okay, that is all. Let us escape our slightly damaged ship.